How's it going, guys? Amagansett Press, and we are coming to you today from the U.S. Post Office in Salina, Utah. I am out with Watchmen today, and we're just going to pay a little visit on these folks and find out if they honor and respect our right to take video and photographs in public and from publicly accessible areas in public buildings. Give you a little view of the neighborhood here. Post office has a law office in the same building. Little time and temperature check for you. Today is Monday, March 2nd. It is 11:25 in the morning, and it is 38 degrees in sunny Salina, Utah. We have Old Glory waving in the breeze as she should, along with the POW MIA flag. Something we love to see. Let's take a walk in and see how these guys are doing today. You ready, Watchmen?
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. Hello.
Hi.
Very cool. All right, so we have our poster 7 here. Community message board. Then you have your post office boxes, shipping supplies. It's a very cool little post office. Maybe they can tell us when it was built. Did you see a dedication plaque anywhere? No, me either. Hello.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Okay.
You have a very cool little post office here.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll be right up to get you in a minute, okay?
Cool, thank you. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. I was looking for your... My name's Jason, by the way.
Okay.
What is your name?
Marilee.
Marilee. Nice to meet you. Pleasure. This is my son, Ben.
Ben, nice to meet you.
So we've never been in Salina, Utah before. Like
Salina.
Salina. See, first time anybody's corrected me. I'm learning things the second I walked in. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I like to pronounce things properly. So Salina, Utah. I've been saying Salina since yesterday. We usually, because we visit municipal buildings and post offices and that kind of thing, just in the towns that we go to, we're traveling the country. And when I come in, I always look for a dedication plaque just to find out when the building was built and that kind of thing. Do you guys have one here on this building? There's usually in the lobby, there's like a...
I don't remember.
Do you know anything about the building, when it was built, or?
I do not.
No?
We lease the building, so.
Well, yeah, all
Yeah.
federal properties leased,
Yeah.
outside of Washington, D.C.
Huh?
Outside of Washington, D.C., the government doesn't own any property. It's all leased. I wish I owned some of it and I could lease it to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it seems like a beautiful day in Salina. Salina.
Salina.
See, I'm going to say Salina now all the time, and I'm going to have to correct myself. But no, very cool little town. Anything interesting? I know you're busy, but anything interesting you could tell us about Salina, or anything else we should see in the neighborhood, or we're only here for a day?
Jerry, do you want to answer that
Up
question?
the road to the CCC camp and the
Yeah.
prisoner of war camp.
CCC camp or prisoner of war camp?
Go
Okay.
right out here and turn left and go all the way up.
Okay. Very cool. We appreciate that, Jerry. My name's Jason. Are you a...
Ben?
And the original Salina post office is right down there where N&B Dance Factory is now.
Where NMB Dance Factory is. Okay, so we'll take a look at that.
Just right across the street
It's
over
the
there.
Okay.
west half of that building, not the new part. The old part was
The old part of the building.
old post office in Salina.
Very cool. And are you born and raised in Salina?
No, mostly raised here, but a lot of family from here.
Very cool.
So between the two cemeteries, I've got my dad, my granddad,
Wow.
great-granddad, great-great-granddad, and great-great-great-grandmother who walked across the plains with the 7th Handcart Company.
So it sounds like you're pretty local.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing, Jerry.
Well, I was born in Roosevelt and lived in Salt Lake a while, but this is more home than anything else.
We were just up in Salt Lake last month, and I got to tell you, that Capitol building is spectacular. That is an amazing building. I don't know if you guys have been up there,
They
but
built it since I've seen it. I haven't seen it.
beautiful. And what wonderful people up there. It was a really nice visit. We had a great, same thing here in Salina. We've had a great trip. It's been awesome.
Good.
Yeah, everybody's very friendly. You know, I'm originally from New York,
Uh-huh.
and we live in Denver now.
Okay.
So coming from New York, these little small towns, this is why we do this. It's just wonderful. You know, I mean, it really is. It's a beautiful, and the older I get, the further away from big cities I'm trying to get. So we're looking around the country trying to figure out the next move.
Nice.
Yeah. And you guys being so cordial and pleasant. It's a nice welcome to Salina, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. You never know what you're going to find when you go into little small
That's right.
towns with a camera in your hand. Sometimes you get, sometimes you gotta jump in the car and
Yeah.
hightail it out of there. But no, you guys have been wonderful. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You bet.
Enjoy your trip.
All right. Thank you. We will. Great. And thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the
Up
information.
the canyon, see the lion's head too.
Up the Lion's Head. Is that what it's
A
called?
rock formation.
And that's the name of it? Lion's Head?
I don't know what it's called.
Oh.
I've lived here for most of my life and I didn't know about it. It was even there until I was in my 50s and some old timer showed me.
There you go. I'm in my 50s, so I'm finding out at the right time.
It's time for you to learn it.
That's
then.
it.
I don't know if I have a picture of it on here or not.
Yeah, it's so great these days to travel with GPS and all that stuff. Somebody tells you about something, you key it in and follow the yellow brick road. It's
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
Around here, you have to be careful though.
Of?
The GPS.
Oh, because they don't,
Sometimes
yeah.
it'll take you to the middle of an empty field.
It'll take
Right,
you
right.
on a road that really isn't there.
And tell you the building's right here and there's nothing for 100 miles.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely true. But
Yeah,
it's
we
better
have
than, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I used to work at Arby's down in Richfield, and one of our truck drivers used his GPS to find us.
Right.
And it took him like way on the other side of town, and there's just fields all the way
Wow.
around it. So
I actually was using my GPS once in Colorado, and it took me into an Air Force base. I didn't even realize I was on the Air Force base. Yeah, so that didn't turn out well.
yeah,
Yeah, but it happens. But you know what? It beats the old days of driving around with the maps. And you always could spot a tourist because they had the big map in on their lap and they're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's head of Sinbad. That's the warrior with the holes in the hands and the feet. This is kept hidden as much as possible. There used
Okay.
to be a turnoff there, and the states blocked both sides of the highway.
Really?
You can see this. You can see the freeway from I-70, but unless you know where this is, you don't know how to find it.
And so do you have to park and walk to it? Is it?
You don't drive there in a car. If you want to hop in my old car, we could probably take you up to the Lion's Head.
Oh, I got my car right here. I can follow you.
That's right there.
Wow.
See, look at that heart shape.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's beautiful. Yeah.
But the Native American guide knew about that. We would have never known that without him pointing it out.
Sure.
Well, I go,
He knows a lot of things he'll never tell you either.
I bet he does. I bet he does.
Ladies, you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Safe travel.
see ya.
Thank you.
You want to drive up to that Lion's Head?
Yeah, if you don't mind, if you have the time, I'll follow you up there, sure. We driving this car here? I'm in a white Jeep right there. I'll follow you.
Oh, you're better off than I am.
How long you think how far is it from here?
Just the other side of that knoll you see over on the other side of
Cool. I don't care, but my wife will ask
It's a
me.
matter of 5 minutes.
Excellent. All right, Jerry, appreciate it. We'll be right behind you. Thanks. All right, guys, so we're going to follow Jerry up to this Lion's Head and check it out, and we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
That is salt excavation.
All right, guys, so we're up at the Lion Head with Jerry here, who was nice enough to drive us up here. And we did not show you the route here because it's kind of a locals only thing and we don't want to blow up his spot. So he's just telling us a little bit about it.
See that white stuff? That's salt. This is a salt deposit here.
Okay.
Salina is called Salina is called Salina because of salt in Spanish.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense.
So there are a lot of salt deposits here.
In all of Utah, I guess. Salt Lake City, you got...
But they mine a lot over in Redmond and sell it for commercial table salt and also road salt.
Oh, so that's the local little jars of salt you see in the hotels and all over the place. Yeah, gotcha.
Similar deposit as this, but they dig theirs from underground.
And that's why there's some pinkish flakes in it too.
Right.
Yeah, very cool. This is awesome. So the Lion's
There used to
Head...
be a big cement formation right here where they bring the salt over and load it into wagons.
Okay.
But when the creek flooded in '83, they knocked all that down to put it to preserve the bank of the creek.
Wow. See, I would never know this stuff if it wasn't for a gentleman like yourself, and we appreciate that. That's awesome.
So there's a trail called the Lions Trail. It starts about 4 miles up here
Okay.
at Gooseberry and goes clear over the top and over to Fish Lake.
Over the top of this mountain here?
Of all of the mountains, it's about
Wow.
about 20 miles.
Oh, wow. That's a good hike.
And this one right here is called Soldier Canyon, and it meets up with Gooseberry a little further over.
Okay. Very cool.
And that's a dirt road, but the other one's oil, but you can't get through it this time of the year because the snow hasn't melted up high yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's still cold. What elevation are we at about here?
About 50. Well, right here would be somewhere around 52.
Oh, okay, so
150, 52.
right around where I'm at in Denver.
Yeah.
Similar. Yeah, we're at about 58, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So you drive back and forth on this from Denver.
what is this 70?
Yeah, this is 70.
Oh, I didn't realize what road we were on. Yeah. So we take 70 back. We actually took 70 to 15 and then went to Vegas.
I'm trying to remember the mileage, but that head of Sinbad pictoglyph is right off 70 on this side, about 60, 65 miles from Salina that way.
Okay.
And I know we met one guy from Colorado that had his camera set up there, and he was taking pictures all day long as the sun set and made different colors on the rocks.
Wow. And what is the name of those pictographs? What are the...
Well, the area is called Head of Sinbad.
Head of Sinbad. Okay, so maybe we can Google it and see if we can find it that way.
And it's the warrior... Well, if you were to look up Dutchman Arch...
Dutchman Arch, okay.
Arch is here, and then as you pan back, there's the two pictoglyphs that I just showed you.
Oh, and that was the picture of the arch that you showed me as well.
They're
Okay,
all
cool.
in that same area. There's a little sign there that says Dutchman Arch.
All right, so we can probably find it that way.
What happens is you drive all the way around, and if you take the first right, you end up to an underpass under the freeway.
Okay.
And the clearance was so bad I didn't dare take my GMC truck under it. So and went a little further and around.
Okay.
Then you go underneath the freeway, and the road looks like crap, but you can go on the edges of it and whatever. And you can go, the arch is this way, and there's roads, there's sand. They're rougher than this, but they're not rocky.
All right, cool.
They're kind of washed. And you'd see, I'm told there's one further up that I haven't seen, but there's the two, and they have some pole panels to kind of keep people from driving right up to them.
All right, good.
So once you get in that area, you can see it. There's a road that goes right to Dutchman Arch, and then you can from that come back and then cut around and parallel. It's a huge cut, just a big mountain that drops.
Okay.
And there's the two pictoglyphs there, plus Dutchman Arch over there.
Very cool. I'm definitely going to try to find it.
It's close. It's kind of close to Swayze's cabin, and that would be on there. But Swayze's cabin's on the other side.
Swayze's cabin. What is that?
It's the Swayzes are some of the early pioneers of Emery County.
Okay.
And they homesteaded part of that. And
Nice.
To homestead it, you had to build a house and farm it.
Right.
There's no water there, so I think the government's got it all back. But they actually built a cabin, and the cabin is still there.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And what was that in the mid 1800s?
Probably late 1800s.
Late 1800s. Cool.
That's the area the Wild Bunch was in. There's Butch Cassidy and all that kind of stuff out.
Wow.
Also, they had the Wild Bunch, they called it. They like to rustle a calf to eat, and right around from Swayze's cabin, there's what they call Refrigerator Cave. Okay. All it is a cutout, but they had when I was younger, there was a pole there where they'd hang a beef on it, and you could pretty much store it long enough to eat the beef before it went rot.
I guess it stayed cool in there?
Yeah, it stayed cool enough, and there's a little spring, little pipe that comes out.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
This is fascinating stuff, man. I really appreciate it. That's cool. That's awesome.
This little cut right here is called Devil's Kitchen. It's got all kinds of color up in top of it. And you can't really see it because of the snow, but you get further up on that side, there's a little a bluish sandstone deposit.
Okay.
There's the same thing on this side further over. There's a little bit of gold in it. My grandfather was quite a prospector.
Really?
When I was younger than you, he said, come on. He'd moved up to Salt Lake. He grew up here. And he pulled me out here, and you could drive over there. Now, this road you're on right here, that's the old road to Denver.
Okay.
That is the Denver road before the freeway.
This, well, I guess what you'd call the service road,
the
or what?
oil road that we went in now.
Okay.
Yeah, the access road now. Wow. Drove up there, and he took out a bag, because he always had a bag to pack his finds in. Right. Come on, and away we went. I didn't even notice he didn't have anything to dig with. We got up on the top, and there was a big bentonite clay deposit. He wanted to explore the value of the bentonite clay, and he knew it was there. Right. And he said, okay, go to that cedar tree over there and get me that pick and shovel. And he had stashed a shovel and a pick in that 20 years earlier, and he knew which tree it was
20 years earlier.
And it was still there.
Wow.
And that's 50 years ago now. Wow. From my time. And I put it back and never been back. I bet it's still there.
Well, I got to tell you, Jerry, living here and having stories to tell like that, you're a lucky man. Yeah, you're blessed.
And this flat right over here, there's a sign, there's a post, a memorial down on the freeway, or not the freeway access road, kind of across from Carl's, but maybe down a little bit. It used to stand over in there. Okay. That's a flat where there were, you can see the big flat rock right there, where there were two
probably can't see it on camera, but I see it.
Two white men killed here. They were killed and scalped by the Indians here. In the early days, probably in the 1860s.
Just wrong place at the wrong time? Mm-hmm. Wow.
There were a lot of Indian up and down this canyon.
I'm sure, yeah.
They had to abandon Salina for a while.
You find arrowheads and stuff around?
I have only found one in my life.
Wow.
And it was a little further over that way.
Huh. That's
But they
very
actually
cool.
find them down in the valley on some of the farms.
I'd love to find something like that. It's awesome.
I found a lot of pottery.
You did?
Yeah,
Wow.
my grandfather that had this spot grew up Lost Creek, just kind of over the hill here, maybe 10 miles. And his family bought the ground from the people who homesteaded it.
Okay.
And they farmed part of it. They pulled water out of Lost Creek and farmed part of it. They wanted to farm the rest. There were some Indian mounds. They just leveled them all out and made
The
farm.
pottery you found, did you find pieces or actually
Yeah, it was pieces.
intact?
It was pieces. Just
Whole
only
and-
pieces.
just
Because they
only
were in
pieces,
these
okay.
mounds and they'd taken their equipment and just
Right.
smashed it all.
That's a shame.
Yeah. And just
Museums
smashed it
would
all.
love to get their hands on that stuff.
I'll tell you where you can find some more Indian pottery. Right off I-70 here.
Okay.
As you go to Emery,
Okay.
there's an Emery exit.
Okay.
Just before you get to Emery exit, over on this side of the road, other side of the fence,
Okay.
there's a big tall black volcanic rock. God, I'll exaggerate. So it's something like this.
What is it? A big, tall, black? What is it?
It's a kind of an egg-shaped black volcanic rock.
Okay.
And if you look at it close, it's got etchings in it.
Okay.
That's Spanish, and that's Spanish Trail.
Okay.
That's telling you that's a marker, that's a Spanish map.
Okay.
And now if it's still there or not, I did see it years ago. There's a flat rock at the bottom and it's got feet prints in it. So you stand in those footprints and that tells you where the trail is.
That's fascinating.
And you can see that
And it-
rock from the freeway here, and you can just park your car and walk over. That was the Spanish in the 1700s.
The Spanish. That's very smart.
Now if you look further down to the left, there's there used to be,
Right.
I haven't been there for a few years, a row of round boulders that
Okay.
were lined up there. That was Indian housing. I don't know how they used it, but it was Indian housing. And all through that area there are little pieces of Indian pottery.
Wow. And you're allowed to just grab that stuff, or
I don't-
you're not supposed to?
I don't think you're supposed to, but if I were you and I'm going to New York or Denver, I'd put a couple in my pocket because they're just going to rot and fall apart out.
Gotcha. Yeah.
out
Yeah.
of
For
there.
sure. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not big enough pieces to be anything significant to anyone anyway.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, very cool. You've given us a lot to chew on.
Now you haven't gone back and gone to the Civilian Conservation Corps camp.
No.
If you go up this canyon, there are several spots that are rock falls
Okay.
that they've built. They're rock waterfalls, overflows. In fact, you'll see one on the creek right over here, and where those bushes are, you'll see one when you go back.
Okay.
And that was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps, but that was in the 30s. But in the 40s, they built a prisoner of war camp right there,
Okay.
and they had German prisoners of war there.
Wow.
And one night, one of the guards went nuts, aimed his machine gun out in the camp, and opened fire and killed 5 of the German prisoners.
Wow.
So that's kind of a dirty spot.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, and they had him out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody even knew about it, probably. I'm sure.
Well, it was a known prisoner of war camp.
Right.
It was a military camp.
Right. I just mean they're out back then. I mean, this was the middle of nowhere.
That
Who was out here? Yeah.
They got him away from the coast. They got him away from high population areas and just guarded him here till the war
Yeah.
was over.
Very cool. We'll go.
But they'll tell you that story there.
Okay. We'll go back and definitely
And that-
take a look.
And the cemetery just above it, that's the one that's got my great-great-grandfather and my great-great-great-grandmother buried
Very cool.
in that cemetery there.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. All right. We'll definitely go take a look and.
But that's worth going to see while you're here.
Well, we definitely will. No, I'm going to take a lot of your advice and try to find a lot of this stuff.
Okay.
It's interesting. That's why we're out here doing this. You've given us gold.
It's gonna,
Even if we don't find any gold, you've given me gold.
I can't remember how long the dirt road is. It's either 7 miles or it's 7 times 2. It's 15 miles. I can't remember which. To go on the dirt road off that exit back and then under the freeway to Dutchman Arch. But if you can find Dutchman Arch on your GPS,
Okay, we'll look
then
for
you
it.
can find those writings.
And I don't mind hunting around. You know, when you're doing this amount of, when you're driving thousands of miles, what's a half hour, 45 minutes somewhere? You know,
Yeah.
no worries.
And the road is most of it's this good. So, the first 5 miles are pretty good. Then it goes downhill a little and it gets a little rough, but you'll be finding this.
Okay, cool.
And you could drive that out into the sand flat. How far I would guess the etchings are maybe from here to that rock panel over there, away from the freeway.
Off the freeway,
Maybe a
okay.
little more than that.
Right.
No, probably only about that far.
All right. Well, we'll definitely wander around and look for them.
But you could go up to that volcanic egg-shaped rock and take a picture of that
I wonder where that rock came from. They put it there, it was placed there, or is that, or they're actually volcanic?
There's a lot of volcanic rock all through that country.
There is, okay.
If you drive through it, you'll have a layer, and then there's a whole different kind of layer of rock on top of it. It's fascinating geologically.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I think
In
it's
fact,
beautiful.
right here, before you go up, they call this rattlesnake, this great big curve that you go up here.
Okay,
It's because when they blasted that, to make the road out, they had just blasted out nests of rattlesnakes.
gotcha.
But just this side of it, if you look that side, they have what they call it, the geologists call it an unconformity. That's where they have the rock this way and another one up into it like that.
Where it kind of heaved up.
Yeah, where it's not parallel, it's gone like this.
Right.
There's a very obvious one over here. My high school science teacher used it in his class.
Very cool.
Kind of a yellowish.
So you went to high school here in Salina?
I did.
Is that so?
I
There's
went to some of the grade school up in Clearfield, Utah, which is north of Salt Lake.
so there actually is in Salina itself. There's actually a high school.
There is. Yeah.
Cool. So what do you have? About 2,500, 3,000 residents?
Probably 25.
Nice.
And
That's nice.
And it also picks up Redmond and Aurora, which are another 1,000, 1,500 each.
So you said you have 15 acres. Do you farm?
Yeah, I have a little bit of alfalfa. I farmed a little bit of alfalfa.
Nice. That's awesome. Good for you. Yeah, it sounds like you have a very nice life.
I just got some 4 bales of hay out to my cousin for his horses earlier today.
Nice. That's cool. That's good work.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's awesome. Well, appreciate everything you got. I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
You got a wonderful little thing going out here.
Well, and the wife always, she doesn't miss the city to live in it. She just misses the city to go and shop and see it and then get out. So.
Right. Well, that's the way to do it. Well, all right, Jerry. We'll let you get back to your day. I can't thank you enough, sir. I really appreciate you.
I'm surprised.
That's my little wise.
Well, New York and then Colorado. Colorado's so anti-firearm.
No, not at all. No, I have my permit.
Well, can you buy a 11-round magazine there? No.
Is it legal? No. Can you buy it? Yes.
We did talk to one guy that was watch guarding. He said if you bring one in, it's legal. You just can't buy one legally.
None of the sheriffs, and well, I shouldn't say none, the vast majority of the sheriffs in Colorado refuse to enforce that ban.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
So we got a bunch of good sheriffs in
We
Colorado.
went to market there early when she started her store, and we've been back once since, or once or twice. Well, we go to Grand Junction every once in a while.
And you're so comfortable being a local around here, you probably don't even carry yourself all the time, right? In the car.
I have I have the Glock in my car.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you got mountain lions too, right? I'm sure.
We do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the people.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye. You got the dog, and I got my wife and my son. See, we're traveling. We're one of those. You feel like a sitting duck when you're out on the interstate. Sometimes it's not like being
All
home.
kinds of weird stuff happens on this freeway right here.
No, I'm sure. Well, all right, Jerry. Again, I really can't thank you enough, sir.
Well, I'm glad you're having fun.
Yeah. Hopefully, we're gonna be making trips every once in a while. Maybe I'll run into you on the next one.
You might.
All right.
You might.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Take care.
Some of those spots out. There'll be lots.
Oh, I'm going to. You can bet on that. Thank you, Jerry.
Did you get a family picture with that in the background?
I'm going to, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Well, all right, guys. That was fantastic. Jerry's a wonderful guy, and appreciate him showing us around and giving us some tips and giving us all this information, things you would never find out unless you talk to a local. So we're going to hop back in the truck. It's a little cold out here. Head down the road and see what we can find next for you. We're going to check out a couple of the spots Jerry was telling us about, and if there's anything interesting, we'll bring you along. If you enjoy these videos, I always like to mention that if you like, comment, share, and subscribe, it helps our channels out tremendously and doesn't cost you a penny. So feel free to do that. I invite you to do the same thing for watching the Watchmen. Kid's got a great thing going. He's got a lot of support, a lot of great feedback. He's just about to hit 15,000 subscribers. His channel's growing and doing really well. So take a look, and I'll leave a link in the description to his channel for you. So that's going to do it for here. So coming to you from Lion's Head Rock in Salina, Utah, along the I-70 highway, watching the Watchmen. Amagansett Press. We'll catch you on the next one, guys. Out.